Hello, friend, and welcome. If you're new here, I'm super excited to meet you. And if you're returning, I hope you're having a much better day than the last time that we talked. Today, we're just focusing on what it is we need to know right now. What is it that we need to allow ourselves to hear, allow ourselves to think outside the box on? What is it that is going to help us obtain what we're trying to obtain moving forward? Another card. Okay. A lot more cards, but we're gonna go with all of them because that felt intentional. Let's see where this reading's going today. Gamble. Okay. So when I get gamble, the first thing I kind of understand is it's almost like shiny object syndrome, except for you're not purchasing things just because you want that purse or you want that sweatshirt or you want that car. What you're purchasing is you're hoping that it's going to be the thing that's going to solve your next problem. It's going to solve your life. It's going to be the answer to your thing. So it's the shiny object syndrome in the sense of you are putting a lot of effort and energy into something that might not even be like right for you. It might not be aligned for you. It's just you're hoping that this is the thing that's going to fix you. And I'm putting fix in quotes here because it's not that you need to be fixed. There's just some healing that needs to be done. And you're going to be like, Kirsten, those are the same thing. No, they're not. Okay. We fix cars. We heal as humans. And what I'm getting at here is this gamble. It could be the one that works for you, but more often than not, it's going to give you some type of information. It's going to give you something that's going to help you, but it's not going to be the thing that solves everything. There's still going to be things that whatever you just got yourself into, whatever you're just doing, or if you're still looking or contemplating, they're going to give you surface level stuff. But the stuff that's deeper, the stuff that's more ingrained and under the surface, that's going to be what gets ignored, and that's what is causing a lot of the issues. Rock bottom. All right, so this reading's getting real heavy real quick. Here we are, rock bottom with gamble and the rock bottom, and that tells me that right now things just suck. And when you are at rock bottom, it is so easy to grasp onto any little thing and hope that it's going to change your circumstances. And understand that I have been at several rock bottoms. I'm not saying any of this lightly. I'm not pretending like, oh, this is something that just happens to people. No, I've been there. I know it sucks. I know the exhaustion, the pain, the aggravation, the frustration, the hopelessness, the desperation that sinks in. What you need to do is you need to first take some deep breaths. Take some deep breaths and tell yourself you're going to get through this. You don't have to know how right now. You just have to trust that you're going to do what you need to do. And the second thing, and this is the most vital thing that you can do for yourself, is start focusing on what you can do. And yeah, I get it. You have this big overarching situation right now that's above you and that it's kind of this thing that is just there. I get it. There's a much bigger thing that you need to do. There's a much bigger hole pit that you need to get out of. Hear me out. Focus and do what you can do right now. If that's just dishes, if that's just laundry, if that's just taking a shower, start focusing on what you can do. And then you're going to find out that the more you do that, the easier it's going to be to handle the bigger things. I'm not saying avoid the big thing by doing all the mundane. I'm just saying that psychology is proven if you focus on solutions, even if the solutions aren't necessarily about the problem that you're that's causing your issue, you're going to find a solution because your brain's naturally already going to be wired to, find solutions. So give yourself the ability to just do what you can, to focus on what you can do, and then you will find maybe not the immediate answer, but you'll find direction, you'll find clarity. Trust me, it works. Move on. Oof. Okay. So the term move on feels like a slap in the face because it's like one of those things where it's like, just move on, get over it, right? No, that's not what this card's intending. In fact, this person is riding a wave. And waves, whenever I see them, always carry a lot of emotion, in the cards, not necessarily in life. And so as I'm seeing this, I'm seeing someone who's riding a wave of emotion, which easier said than done, 100%. And this move on guard is literally more of encouragement of keep going. Don't get stuck. Don't stay in the same place. Keep moving. Keep going forward. It's better to move than stay stuck. And that's what this card's about. It's just that gentle reminder to keep moving, to keep going forward. And yeah, riding the wave is not fun. There's a lot of emotion, sometimes grief and anger, resentment, and other things that aren't pleasant that come up when you're on these types of waves. Keep allowing yourself to release the emotion and then move. You don't want to stay in this place, you want to move from this place. Say less. This is that annoying reminder that what you say matters, in the sense of what you talk about carries energy. And the more you focus your energy on the things that you don't want, the more energy you're giving those things. So say less is asking you to use your words in a way that benefit you and that build you up, in a way that helps you. And when I say less, I don't mean quiet yourself or shrink yourself. I'm talking more about say what's important. Yeah, I understand that you're tired, frustrated, and aggravated, and those things are fair to say out loud, but you don't have to keep harping on it. Real easy example. Okay, so I burnt my finger. You can't really tell the burn in like the camera right now, but my whole pinky was like bright red and it was a steam burn and it hurt so badly. And as the day went on, I kept going like, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Did I need to keep reiterating and saying out loud that it hurts, it hurts, it hurts? No. Did I have to keep reminding my husband for melodramatic sake of me being silly the whole evening that I burnt my finger and that, it was annoying me? No. That was me putting energy, wasting energy, saying words just to say words. That is what we mean by say less. Like, yes, you could acknowledge that you burnt yourself. You can acknowledge that it hurts. But you don't have to continue to harp on it over and over and over again. Now, if the pain is increasing, like there were points where the pain did increase and I would, say something to him about that, that's fine. Because that's a new thing to talk about. But again, understand that you want to make sure that you're talking with intention and not just talking to have sound. Daydream. Look, this one's I'm not going to call it dangerous one, but this one's like a caveat because daydreaming is beneficial, but also dangerous. Daydreaming can help you, get your mind out of tough spots and you can find answers, clarity, and inspiration through daydreams. You can also waste your life away in daydreams. And I say that as someone who can find her head in the clouds and stay there because it's way better in the clouds than it is in reality. So when I say daydream here, it's kind of the double-edged sword. If you really don't know what to do, how to move forward, where to go from here, allow yourself to just daydream. Allow yourself to think way outside the box. Allow yourself to, have silly thoughts and get inspiration. But don't stay there. Don't stay there to escape the issue. Happiness. What I love about this card is it shows the roots as the nervous system, right? And then it has the blooms on top of the head. Here's the thing about happiness. Happiness comes from you. And isn't one of those things where it's like, just be happy. No, I'm not saying that. Happiness is actually something that you have to exercise, something that you have to get your brain to start doing by choosing happiness. And you're gonna be like, Kirsten, it's not that easy. Hear me out. I was clinically diagnosed as depressed, general depression, and mild case of anxiety. And so I say this as someone for, 20 years of my life has had to find how to be happy through all sorts of stories. Here's the thing. When I say I choose happiness, there's times in my life, or even throughout my day, let's actually talk about my day. There's times in my day where I can choose to continue to let myself spiral, be angry, be upset about something, or I can take a deep breath and say, I'm going to let this go, and I can find a neutral baseline. That neutral baseline isn't me being happy. But what that neutral baseline is allowing me to do is that chance to find happiness in the next thing that happens, and something else. So choosing happiness isn't just saying, oh, just be happy, because that's bullshit and it doesn't work. And I know that. I've been told that, and I hated every person that said that to me. What I am saying is find out what you can do in your day-to-day to either get to a neutral baseline or to let things go so happiness can happen. And the more that you do that, the more you get to that neutral baseline and the more you let things go, the more you dig these roots and the more that affects your nervous system and the more easily happiness comes to you. Yeah, this is literally a neurological, chemical thing that you can train your body to do. It's not something that's talked about a lot, but this is something that you can do. It takes a bit of practice, and it is a skill that I had to learn to develop. But since I've learned and developed it over time, happiness comes a lot easier to me than it used to when I was first diagnosed. Now I want to ask the tarot cards. I want to ask them what got us here, like what got us to this point. You're going to be like, Kirsten, it's obvious. I'm not talking about the obvious thing that everyone can see. I'm talking about the root of what got you here, the thing that's deeper than that. Again, not surface level, but underneath the surface. I've, in my lifetime, come to understand that a lot of the problems that I had, yes, like seemed obvious, okay, let's just go with credit card debt, okay? Credit card debt is something that, like, yeah, I spent too much money on a credit card, I couldn't pay it back. That's the obvious thing. The unobvious thing is that part of the reason why I did that was because A, at the time, I did not have understanding of budgeting and, impulse control and ability to allow myself to, know, hey, I need to save money. Hey, this interest is going to accrue. I didn't understand interest at the time. I mean, I was like, 18, bad time for us all to get our credit cards. But you get what I'm saying. So it's not that I just spent money. There was something even more that allowed me to, let that happen, allowed it to lead to that. It was something more that was underneath the surface. Four of Swords in its reverse position. Straight up telling me that right now that there's integration that needs to happen or that's going on. I know I asked for why, but hear me out. This card is telling me that you are already on a journey and that you already know part of the answer. And it's because right now you're going through an integral transition. And what do I mean by that? Because that sounds like a, far off thing. Think of the Four of Swords as like when you go into physical therapy, okay? When the Four of Swords is in its upright position, you have surgery and you're going through like that initial rest and recovery period. When it's reversed, you're putting yourself back into physical therapy and you're getting yourself stronger. Think of that physical therapy stage as you doing stuff to already work for your betterment, but still you end up finding yourself in rock bottom or gambling or, in a space or a place where things aren't comfortable. And you blame yourself for it, you say, I should have known better, and you just start giving yourself a bunch of grief about this. This card is coming through and saying and reminding you that you are still in a beginning phase. You are still in a strengthening phase. You are still learning how to apply the things that you are learning. This isn't a part where you have it mastered. This is the part where it's messy and sloppy. Another example I like to give, okay, is when babies learn how to walk, right? They go boop, 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 and they fall, right? They fall on their little butts, and then we all go, yay, it's okay, and the baby gets back up, and they do it again, and like that's just part of the process, right? Okay, right now, what you did is that you were like, okay, I'm gonna do things differently, I'm gonna take care of myself, and you went boop, boop, and then you fell. Yes, you might have fallen on rock bottom, and that's a big fall, and it hurts, and I get it. But here's the thing. It's okay. It's part of the process. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you need to go, yay, I found my rock bottom. No, that's bullshit too. What I am saying is that this is part of the process. So instead of beating yourself up and saying all the cruel things that you're saying to yourself, maybe just give yourself grace and remember that this is part of the process, and yet freaking sucks. But it's okay, because you're going to get back up and you're going to do better next time. And this time. And the time after that. You're just going to get back up and you're going to keep doing better. Because just like the baby falls multiple times on its butt, this is another time where you just fell on your butt. You're going to get back up and you're going to move. You're going to move on. We're going to move forward. Elder of Pentacles. In the typical tarot, this would be considered the King of Pentacles. What I like about this deck, though, is they have it as the Apprentice, the Champion, the Oracle, and the Elder. So I'm coming through here with the Elder of Pentacles, and again, I like to remind you that Pentacles is not just about your finances, it's about your time and energy, because you spend time and you spend energy. This is you understanding and learning and seeing a new way of using your time and energy. And this is you experiencing things so that way you can make the life that you want to. Think of the Elder in this sense, and I like how this kind of takes out the divine masculine, divine feminine. Think of the Elder in this sense as someone who is wise and gone through many, many things and has a lifetime of information underneath them and knows how to apply it and when to apply it. This is you. And this is who you're becoming. And in order for you to be this Elder of Pentacles, you need to allow yourself to understand that how you spend your time, your energy, and your finances, because we got this gamble card, is important, and you need to allow yourself to invest in yourself. And I'm not just talking about physical investments. I'm talking about time investment, energy investment. How much time and energy do you put towards yourself a day? Do you give yourself any time in a day? Because if the answer is no, you need to start doing that. If you already completely neglect yourself, start with 5 minutes a day, but I really would like you to do 30 minutes a day. If you can get yourself to do 30 minutes a day, you're going to find that this rock bottom place, you get out of it a lot quicker. But you need to do something conducive for yourself in those 30 minutes. You need to journal, you need to meditate, you need to go for a walk, you need to do whatever it is that you need to do in those 30 minutes. Those 30 minutes a day isn't you doom scrolling. It's not you watching, Netflix or Hulu or whatever. Those 30 minutes is for your mental health and your ability to problem solve, plan, and get you to the next day. The Tower in its reverse position. You're gonna be like, Kirsten, I already went through an upheaval. Yeah, well, the thing about the Tower in its reverse position is this is a change that happened because you're the one that started it. What do I mean by that? A Tower moment that you can start, and I'm not saying that this is what you did, but this is examples of what you can do, is buying a house. That is still a huge, major life thing that happens, but you're the one that started the process of buying a house. If you are trying to get pregnant and then you get pregnant, again, that is you working towards something that's going to majorly change your life. So yeah, you started the process, and now you're finding yourself in a space, in a place where things are just a disaster. Unfortunately, again, this is part of the process. I'm not saying that what you're going through wasn't inevitable and that you were destined or fated to get there, because that's BS and bullshit, and you have free will and you make your own decisions. What I am saying is that you doing what you needed to become this Elder Pentacle, to do the change and become the person that you're wanting to become, the process is messy. The process is sloppy. This process didn't mean that you had to go to rock bottom, but that's where it found you. And now that you're there, it's up to you to know how you're going to rebuild. Five of Pentacles. This card tells me that you are feeling really desolate right now, that you have very little support in a lot of things. And when you're in this space or when you're in this place, it's real easy to just make impulse decisions that are like, oh my God, please save me. Please let this be the thing. Please. And again, I get it. I have been that desperate. I almost was like completely homeless with only just my car for me and my cat. And, I was able and fortunate to find a place to stay. But I realized that's not everyone's situation. What I'm getting at here is with this Five of Pentacles. And what I like about this one is this one actually is a broken vase, but it has coins around it. Let yourself see and utilize what you already have. Yes, things might feel desperate. Things might feel isolating. Things might feel overwhelming and lonely. But you have things at your disposal that can already help you through this. It might not be the route you want to take, but at this moment, if you are as limited as you believe you are, then why don't you just take the route? And I'm not saying go down a route that's toxic or bad for you. That's not what I'm getting at here. For me, whenever I was in this place, it was having to swallow my pride and admit that I really needed help. And having to accept help from people that I was hoping that I could show that I was doing better. And they were willing to help me, and they helped me, but I didn't want them to see that side of me. They were people that cared for me and that were good for me and that were healthy and healing for me. Let's get this straight. But it was still, I wanted to show them better. I wanted to know that I could do better. And when I came to them, it was hard for me to admit, hey, I need help. I had to swallow my pride and I had to be real honest and real vulnerable about the situation that I'd been lying to them about. Not saying that you're lying to people. Let's get this straight. Like, this is talking about my experience. But this Five of Pentacles is coming across, all this actual whole reading is coming across and saying that, yeah, you're in a hard place, a hard space, and I get that. But you have ways to get things to get you to the next step that are going to be helpful for you. It's just a matter of you allowing yourself to go that route. Now I want to ask for some next steps to help us figure out how to get out of this pit, how to get out of this spot, to get out of this desperation and aggravation. Because, I get it. And it's not a fun place to be. And it hurts sometimes. But I know you can do this. Alright. Let's talk about the two cards that flipped over. Anger. I want to remind you that anger is not a good or a bad thing. Anger is a neutral emotion. It's an emotion inside of us that, yeah, it lights fire. It has energy to it. There is actual, need to move or you let it out. But it's what you choose to do with the anger that makes the experience. Are you going to use it in a constructive way or are you going to use it in a destructive way? And you're going to be like, Kirsten, what does anger look like in a constructive way? Well, for me, that's like, when I angry clean, it's the cleanest and the quickest my house ever gets. And the funny part, and I really wish I could channel my angry cleaning more, because my house gets clean. It's not just surface level clean. I clean so much when I angry clean, and I can never replicate that same type of cleaning. But that's the thing. That's the point of anger, is it drives you to do something very intensely and intentionally, and it's up to you and how you're going to direct that. So yeah, if you're full of anger, and if you're not full of anger right now, get angry about what's happening. Get angry about what's happening, and then see how you can utilize that anger to get you to the next step. Kind of think of anger as like a little boost, okay? It's like a little caffeine boost to your emotions. And sometimes it really is helpful and it gets you to the next phase. Other times it just leaves you shaky and jittery and you don't know what to do with it. When you can use it in a directed and intended way, it can do wonders for you. Ooh, this card was already flipped. Burden. This card's coming through and it's saying, stop feeling like a burden. Stop feeling that your existence is a burden to somebody else. Start realizing that your existence is just what it is. You worthy of love and life. If you have someone that makes you feel like a burden, they're probably not good for you. They could be temporary, necessary, but they are long-term not good for you. And yeah, maybe the actions that you have been doing have been, burdensome to those who love you and care about you. You yourself are not a burden, but the actions that you do and the atmosphere that you create can be a burden to other people. It sounds like I'm like counter flipping here, so I'm going to get real clear, and I really want you to understand what I'm saying. You are somebody worthy of love and happiness. You want to ensure that you're not going to be a burden to other people. Start looking after yourself and caring for yourself. Start loving yourself. You do that, there are no burdens. But you keep making decisions, you keep gambling, and you live in rock bottom because you just can, that's when you become a burden. So the choice is yours. Just like this happiness thing, you have a choice. Are you going to choose to get your life in the direction that is beneficial for you and start loving and caring yourself? Or are you going to keep destroying yourself? That's your decision. I can't answer that for you. No. Okay. This is the second time I've had this card in an online reading, and it's more than I normally have. So, we're going to call this intimate energy. You can guess what it's meaning. This card is a reminder that there is still a reason for you to have passion, desire, drive. This card is coming through because it's one of those things where, relationships and intimacy are real easy to just do with as a band-aid, okay? I'm not telling you to go do that. I'm not telling you to use it as a band-aid. Whether it's with somebody else or solo, it's not worth the band-aid. What I am getting at here is when you have real need, real desire, real drive, you'll feel that in your whole body. And this card is coming through, and it's asking you to find that same desire and drive that you would in this type of moment and bring yourself to a place where that can help you move forward. With that being said, I'm going to pause this because I have to cover this word up a little bit. Okay, I'm back. Honoring your energy. This is a really good follow-up, actually, for that first energy card. Because as I talked about how using intimate energy as a band-aid isn't good for you, this is a really good follow-up because honoring your energy is important. Honoring your energy and using your energy in healing and conducive ways is what's going to get you through this. That means resting when you need rest. That means being open, honest, and vulnerable when you need to be open, honest, and vulnerable. That means getting yourself to do the mundane when you need to do the mundane, when you need to take a shower, when you need to do dishes, when you need to do laundry. This is about you doing what is necessary, but also taking care of yourself in the process. Not pushing yourself to burnout, not making yourself work until you get sick. This is you honoring your energy. This is you allowing yourself to grow. And this is you trying to work on finding that balance. And it's a balance that's going to come to you as you start to allow yourself to navigate the different things that are happening in this reading, as far as, the choices that you make and, integration and how you start doing the things to help you get towards that version of yourself that you're working to be, instead of just the version of yourself that, you've gotten, that you see in the mirror today. Now I just want to ask for some encouragement. And I want to, know what the cards can tell us to help us get past this initial hurdle. And you're going to be like, Kirsten, rock bottom is more than a hurdle. I get it. But that first step is a hurdle. And then once you get past that first step, it gets a bit easier. So I no longer shrink to fit someone else's comfort. Super important. I was talking about that throughout this reading with different cards, about you needing to take care of yourself, you needing to be honest, you needing to do what you need to do for yourself. You no longer shrink to fit someone else's comfort. Again, if you need to have a temporary solution, that's fine, but you need to find a long-term out. You need to find a way to make sure you're safe, you're healthy, and that you're in a good space. So stop shrinking, start taking up space, and start realizing that you matter. The love I longed for lives quietly inside me now. This one's also huge in the sense that once I realized this, life felt nicer. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Understand that I'm a survivor of child abuse and that, I did not receive a lot of love in the parental way that I wanted to growing up. But once I found how to find that unconditional love for myself, things didn't feel so hard anymore. And I started believing in myself and knowing that I was somebody worth love. And once I knew I was somebody worth love and I started to love myself, everything just started to happen. I am safe in the space I occupy, even when fear visits. Fear is not meant to be a life state. Fear is meant to be a temporary thing that helps you assess a situation. Fear's main goal is to be like, hey, this looks like something we need to make a decision on now. Do we run or do we stay still? And once you determine whether you should run or stay still, then fear is like, what's the next step? Unfortunately, we live in a society where we were not taught how to handle fear and how to work with fear. So yes, if you need to run, run. If you need to stay, stay. Fight or flight are very real things. With that being said, though, when fear visits, don't assume that something bad is happening because it's there. Instead, just be like, okay, what's the next step? And if you don't know the next step and you're too tired and exhausted to figure it out, go ahead and sleep on it and say, I will figure this out tomorrow. That's tomorrow's problem. That is okay. But then the next day, do work to find the solution. My body carries wisdom that my mind sometimes forgets. This is a really good reminder that your intuition and your gut instinct are going to help you more in this than logic and reasoning are. Because spirit does not work with logic and reasoning. Spirit has its own GPS and they let us know which way to go, again, by intuition or gut feeling. And if you're somebody who hasn't really tapped into that, try doing it now. And it's going to feel uncomfortable and it's going to feel uncertain. But if you want to make the change that you want to make, maybe doing something that feels uncomfortable is the way out. Because doing what's comfortable is likely what got you here. And here's the thing. I know you're going to succeed. I know you're going to get out of this rock bottom. I know you're going to find stability. I know you're going to find security. And I know that you are going to do what it takes in order to make sure that this change that you started is going to land to where it was supposed to land to. Why do I know this? Because you've made it this far in the video. Your heart has heard every word that I said and has understood that there is truth in this. And because of that, I know that you are determined to make this change and see this through. You're going to do this. It's going to be uncomfortable. I get that. And you know what? If you want to vent, we have a comment section. Go ahead, use that comment section to vent about what you're going through right now. I have vented, many a time via the computer when I was given permission. So here's your permission. If you need to vent, comments, do it. But you know what? If you don't know where to go next or you don't know what to do, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to others. Figure out what works for you and know that once you figure out what works for you, you're going to be amazing and you're going to do this. I love you. I know you were going to do this. if you don't believe in yourself, let me believe in you, because I feel the aggravation and the tension surrounding this energy right now. And I'm just going to ask you to take a deep breath. Allow yourself to say, I can do this, and believe it. That's all I have for you. This is your reading. I love you so much, and I wish you a great day. Bye-bye.